It's not what the state can do for you, it's what you can do for the state. So what is wrong with everybody having a holiday, everybody having an apartment, everybody having one car, everybody having a job? What the hell is wrong with that there? What people wanted was an induction of the West. They wanted to have more than their neighbor. But that's the ideological difference between Milosevic and his wife. She was a staunch communist and wanted everybody to be equal. Nothing wrong with that. I don't criticize that there. I don't necessarily follow that ideology. There has to be some form of ambition because all humans have that. Milosevic was more relaxed. He had to be, because he had to move with the times. You know, the Russians were also relaxing their communism. The Chinese were relaxing their communism without you even knowing about it. Look how many Chinese people you have in Belgrade at the moment. Silently, they move in on you without you even knowing and take over your country. Which is what's that? Look around you and see. In way back in my time, if a black person had committed a murder and you needed an identity parade, you'd be hard pushed to find 8 people, black people, to have an identity parade to see which one it was. Now it's different. Now there's an integration, and I love it. But I also believe that with integration comes responsibility. You integrate into a society. You don't change that society. And that's where England and potentially Italy is going wrong. England has gone wrong because they've allowed an influx of immigration, but that influx of immigration has not integrated into society. They want to form their own society. Serbia's got it right. If you want to come into Serbia, Russians, Ukrainians, whoever the hell you are, whatever, we don't mind, you know, if you have something to add, but you have to integrate within our society. And before the Balkan War, you had political parties from Albania, you had political parties from Croatia, you had religions, you know, everybody was quite happy. There was no issues. It was only when the Germans, as I said to you before, pushed Croatia into going independent and with the promise that they would be recognized. Because Cole told me, we promised Tudjman that we will recognize you if you claim independence, which was unlawful and contrary to the European Union. But who could do anything about it? They were leaders of the European Union. They were effectively the inheritors of Adolf Hitler's ideology to be, you know, a United States of Europe under the Bundesbank. So no one could do anything about it. And before they knew about it, you had yourself a situation. That is why I like the Balkan, I like the Serbian immigrational policy of President Vučić. He's understood. He has gone aside from the Radical Party. He's learned the lesson from there. And what he's done is that he welcomes immigration who have something to add to this country. And that's what I always wanted. That's what Stranska Subsidience was about. We welcome everybody who can add. So he's copied from us, but it doesn't matter. The only important thing is the citizen happy? And if the citizen is happy, there's no problem. If they're not happy, trust me, in the Balkans, you got a massive problem, a big problem, if the citizens are not, because everybody's heavily armed. My wife was taught how to shoot at the age of 8. It was part of the curriculum in school to protect the, your country. Dangerous. And remember, the Celtic women could fight equally to their men. The Balkans, the Belgrade was a Celtic enclave. Your women there are strong, they're tough, they're strong-minded, they're resilient, they're not scared, they can stand up to you. Not in Europe. Europe, they're thin and that, that. But in the Balkans, you try and tell a woman what to do and see how far you can get. Physically, they're the same as you. And that's their Balkan heritage. And that is the Celtic heritage. because the men would go off and fight and the women had to survive and fight between themselves. So physiologically, that's the situation. You have a fantastic, beautiful country that now can prosper under a government that has a proper policies, which it seems that Vučić has learned, a good lesson there, and he's going in the right direction.
Well, you mentioned wives, women here in Balkans. Is it true that your wedding actually was as bright as Arkan's wedding?
Well, let me tell you about that. I was married in Belgrade for one. Milosevic gave me the authority on one condition. He said, I give you permission. I'm going to tell my minister to give you permission to marry on the 17th of June, 1995. He said, but you have to have a translator because you've got to understand what the hell you're getting into when you're marrying a Balkan woman. I remember that conversation in Tolstoyeva. There, he said, you have to understand what you're getting into. You're not buying into your European women. This is a Serbian woman, and you need to understand. So I agreed to that there. But the ceremony and the wedding, the feast that we had was in Italy. So how do I get 200 guests to Italy? I have to persuade the foreign minister that he's to give me permission and a license to fly 2 jets from which was under heavy sanctions, and everybody was against it. But Đovani Di Stefano, having protected the Italians and done everything that we possibly could, and enhanced, and having good relationships, we were hoping to have a good relationship with everybody. The minister, controversially and under some criticism from Parliament, gave licenses for Yugoslav Airlines 2 jets to come into Ciampino. But those KURACs at the airport, the people there, what they did was that we had permission to come, but they checked every single passenger. So when we came there, they were 2 or 3 hours late. The buses were ready, but it didn't matter because we were married, we were happy. Everything was nice. Our wedding was paid for. Some of it was paid for by Željko. Some of it was paid for by the government as well. We had a massive amount of Srpska Dobrovoljska Gard protection. We had the special passes. You had the Italian security services that took over a whole hotel, to make sure to see who each one was. And I got my way, one way or another. And that just goes to show that when you have right and justice on your side, you can overcome anything. And that's what I proved, that you can do it. I got those people, the Serbians, to there, and I got them back to Serbia, and everybody was very, very, very happy. And 30 years on, I'm still, as my wife says, seriously married.
Well, that's, let's say, that's maybe the biggest truth you revealed today to us. So I would like to ask you one thing which can be considered as rumors. I saw a documentary movie which talks about Radojica Nikčević, and there is some part, some 20 minutes when they mentioned you, and they were, let's say, they were trying to revive the time, and then they use actors. I don't know if you've seen that movie. Yeah. And there is one scene when you said, the actor said, I'm gonna buy aircraft carrier. So what about it?
That is absolutely correct. And let me tell you this, I've posted this on Twitter and that as well. We did buy HMS Vengeance, an aircraft carrier, me and Nicholas van Hoogstraten there. It was with the intentions of putting asylum seekers on board that ship there. And if it's good enough for sailors, it's good enough for asylum seekers, and charging the government small money. They said, oh, crazy. So we sold it for a £2.5 million profit to the Chinese to be destroyed. But look what they've done now, 20 years later. They've brought ships to house asylum seekers, which are costing hundreds of millions. And who's crazy now? Koji, ljudi. No one's. We had it right in the first place. It was correct in the first place. So we did. That is absolutely, totally correct. HMS Vengeance. That is absolutely correct. And I was right to do so. And had they have listened to me at the time, had they have taken me up on the offer, would have cost them £80 per week. Now it's costing them £500. Madness. But that's your UK, because the UK don't give a damn about its citizens. They care about their own government there. They could not even run a bath, let alone a country. And they are slowly bankrupting its citizens. Europe is being bankrupted for taking sides over a war. It is very reminiscent to me now of the Balkan situation, where people took the sides of Croatia, Bosnia, against Serbia. And that was a massive mistake. You don't take sides when there's conflict. You let people resolve their own problems. In a marriage, if me and my wife ever argue and my son takes a side, it would be absolutely disastrous, because then he's stuck with the person who subsequently you might even find was wrong, but he's taken a side. So you mind your own business. And remember what I said to you from the first on. One of my clients said to me, one of the organized crime clients here in Italy, a very serious family from Palermo, the man who minds his own business is rarely killed.
That's the truth. So, well, for the end of this conversation, I would like to ask you a simple question. Would you like to come to Serbia? Do you have any plans regarding visiting Serbia? You said already about these cooperatives like Šumadija was, but do you have any concrete plans for Serbia?
Well, I have an appointment with the president in due course there. That appointment will be scheduled commensurate to my timetable and to his timetable there. I am a Serbian citizen. It is my country.